Oh.
Hey everybody! Now I had been working on a project for well over a long time now. Long time. Basically, I built a Yeeps escape room, which it's nothing too fancy. It honestly sucks. I had 3 different people go through the escape room to film their experiences and what they thought about it. The first person who went through this escape room was named Hollow. Whenever you want to start.
Here. Over here.
Right there, yep.
Alright. Oh my, tight spaces.
Hollow pretty easily figured out the first part. I mean, it was just a button in a room. But that was chamber 1 out of 9, and they do get progressively more difficult. And in the second chamber, it is a little more complicated, but it's basically just a button and a key. Which Hollow figured out pretty easily. The next chamber was pretty simple, but it was still kind of difficult because Hollow had to run as fast as he could to press both buttons and have them be activated at the same time. And yes, there was a time limit for how long the buttons could be activated for.
This is fairly easy. Oh, how am I gonna do that?
He eventually figured it out, and that led us into the 4th chamber. Now, this is a big step up, because the first 3 chambers, they're basically simple, but this next puzzle was way more difficult.
Alright.
So, his controller died, which didn't make the escape room impossible, but it definitely made it a lot more difficult.
I think my other controller died.
Oh no.
Yes, my other controller did in fact die.
If you want me to give you a hint.
Yeah. Oh, what? How did it open?
It took him a while, but eventually
Can I get a hint?
he asked for a hint. Once he figured it out, we moved on to the next chamber.
Oh, how am I gonna do this with one hand?
No, you know what to do.
Complete darkness. What?
We eventually moved on to chamber 6, a red room, just filled with 1x1 blocks.
Get it with my other hand.
And somewhere in that red room was a hidden button, which would blend in perfectly with all the red, which is almost impossible to find among all the red, so it took him forever to find.
Didn't know we were playing Spot the Difference today.
He found it on the first try. The next chamber we went into was the 7th chamber, and this one was a lot more difficult, and it stumped so many people.
They just cut out.
Eventually, he decided that it was too difficult, and he might need his other arm back.
I think I know what I have to do.
So once he got a battery, he was back up again, and still stumped.
Alright. Can I have one more hint?
He asked for a hint, and I told him this. The note block is to help you find it.
It's over here, right? Ah. Yes. Oh. Oh.
He eventually figured it out, and we were on to the 8th chamber, which was by far the hardest and most difficult to make. This next chamber required you to power one single wire with 3 other wires. The red one was obviously the easiest because it was in plain sight, but that was just the example. That's unfortunate. So close.
Exactly. So close yet so far.
The other 2 were very difficult, and he decided that he would want to go through the maze. It's easier than it sounds.
This maze makes me want to die.
It's not very amazing.
Yeah.
But Eventually, he scurried his way through the maze, finding the green wire. Once out of the maze, we headed over to where the blue wire would be located. And this one was what took forever. This one is the one that had me staying up several nights. I'm surprised I didn't have a single cup of coffee to keep me going. Yes, it did, actually. He started by pressing a bunch of random buttons, which I guess makes sense. It's the most obvious thing to do when presented with a bunch of buttons.
Well, what do we have here?
But what he didn't realize is that 4 of those buttons powered a screen, which that screen revealed a hidden code.
I have a horrible memory, okay?
Eventually, he figured out that hidden code, and unfortunately to me, I never figured it out why, but my coding was very terrible, and sometimes if you press the buttons too fast, they just didn't register.
Oh!
So, I had to help him out just a little bit.
Oh, let's go. Alright. And
Sometimes it doesn't
red?
register.
See, I won. Let's go. Where does it open?
Once he figured it out, once he figured it out, he powered the blue wire,
Finally, man.
and all the wires were powered, and we moved on to the final 9th chamber.
I didn't know you were right here.
Once in the hallway, he decided that he would break a bunch of pillows, which makes sense. Placing a bunch of breakable blocks is a pretty obvious hiding spot.
Ooh.
And lo and behold, he found some buttons.
Makes me feel like I'm locked up in a padded room again. I'm kidding, not again. Button. Do I have to...
I realized that it was difficult for him to figure out what he was supposed to do, so I tried to help him. This needs to be... That's the ones. This one. Okay, that's one. But it turns out, I got something wrong. One of the blocks that was supposed to be rotated around so that it actually worked was the wrong way. Eventually, I congratulated him on beating the room, and I decided that I would, 1, fix that mistake so people could actually beat the 9th chamber. This was flipped like that because it was turned the wrong way. And 2, I would add green lights on above the door so you can see how many buttons you need to press.
You should make it like on a 12.
Once Hollow beat the escape room, I decided to take him around the map and show him some of the coding and the wiring. Hello to the camera. Specifically, the 4-digit color code, which that was originally going to be an 8-digit color code, and that would have been a nightmare. The original plan was to do an 8-digit code, but look how much code it took just for 4 digits. And I wouldn't have to double that.
And
because...
4 digits make me die already.
Yeah. I wouldn't have to double these 4 digits. I would have to quadruple this. Like, quadruple all these wires and all these things. The next contestant was Shadow Dog, and he decided that he wanted to try to speed run the entire escape room.
It's gonna be. It is.
Left behind
Okay.
already. And he did. Okay, good. You're getting past the chambers fairly well. Kind of.
No. No. Why does it keep closing?
He finally opened up the door a little wider, until someone got locked behind the door. Dang it, I got locked behind again. Are you kidding me? Yeah. I'm not proud of that. Eventually we got to the 4th chamber, and he was a little confused too.
Stop.
And though he didn't find a way into the next chamber, he did find a hole.
A hole there.
Oh, thank
Oh,
you.
dude.
Eventually, he also wanted a hint, so I gave him a hint. You get 3 hints throughout the 9 chambers.
Oh,
Let me
flip.
know if you
Okay.
need a hint.
This one.
This one? Okay, okay. Why do you think that one's not glowing? Or that one's still glowing? And we moved on to the next chamber. There you go. Bye, Hollow. And we quickly fell into the next chamber. This time I was sure he was absolutely going to get stumped because of all the red blocks, and the button is red, and he figured it out too. Almost instantly. I'm not good at this. We moved on to the 7th chamber, which this one took a while, and then I forgot to record some of it. So on to the 8th chamber, and again, he had to face the great maze. Still not as intimidating as it sounds. He quickly ran through the maze and found the button. Once we exited the maze and he went over to the blue wire section, I could tell that he was having a pretty tough time figuring out what to do. So I then again had to give him another hint.
You know what? I will take a second hint.
Okay. This is a code.
Yellow, blue, orange. Yellow, blue, orange. Oh, I know.
After some help, he figured it out.
Blue.
This one takes a while to light up, I think. Yeah. I don't know why it does that.
Yeah.
And we moved on to the 9th and final chamber again. This time, hopefully it works. He quickly started finding buttons, and as I predicted, the lights did help him. And once he found all those buttons, it was a quick and easy escape. Now it was time for our 3rd and final contestant. But before I did that, I went back and I patched that hole that Shadow Dog found. Finally, we moved down to our 3rd and final contestant, to the escape rooms. Oh, and this person was not someone new. No, literally, that was their name. You can see it right here. Clear as day. Right as we entered the 1st chamber, not someone new wanted to give me a little tip.
Okay, I see the first issue with this map. There's no
Yeah.
floor.
Yeah, I understood that the first 3 chambers weren't as fancy. Okay, none of it's fancy. But still, it's designed to let your guard down, so definitely designed that on purpose. Anyways, we moved on to the 2nd chamber, and not someone new. Okay, this is ridiculous. I'm just gonna call them not, which, yeah, sounds weird, but I don't want to say not someone new every time. So Not decided they could probably trick the system and use a radiation bomb. Because if you didn't know, radiation bombs break pillows and press buttons. But that wouldn't have worked here because it was just wiring and nothing more. Also, they don't work on small buttons, so even if they use it on a small button, it wouldn't have worked. We moved on to the 3rd chamber, and Not decided since they were low on cotton, they were going to make a cotton farm.
No, because I'm bored, I'm gonna do it the cheaty way.
And considering that we were going to meet the motherload of cotton on chamber 9, I decided it would be best if I took things into my own hands.
Girl, yay.
Okay.
I can't afford another one.
Yeah, the plants. I took the plants into my own hands. We moved on to chamber 4. And just as I had predicted, they lowered their guard and thought I was lazy enough to not build a proper glowing screen.
I hate that color. You messed up the screen, by the way.
They thought that my glowing screen was broken. We moved on to chamber 5 and it was easy.
This is too easy, bro. Too easy.
We moved into chamber 6 and I knew this time it was gonna stump them. And right as my hopes are getting up, they saw the button looking for a freaking pressure plate. We moved on to chamber 7. They found the pressure plate and all became clear to them. But not right before, like most people, they got stuck in the wall. We moved on to chamber 8 and they too had to face the maze. They eventually found the button.
I have to go back.
No, you don't have to. And they figured out the code. But I did have to help them because I cannot code very well. We eventually moved on to the 9th and final chamber. And as soon as not every single block that you can possibly pick up, they easily found all 4 buttons and escaped. Once Not beat the escape room, he decided to leave, but not before giving me some constructive criticism.
I hate you. I hate this place.
And then they were on their merry way. While designing this entire escape room, which was really fun, even though it took all my life away from me, it gave me a really cool idea for a couple inventions or things that Yeeps could add to their game to improve it and make it even better. Though I can only remember one of them. And the one that I remember is the gadget dispenser. It basically worked like the item restrictor, except instead of what blocks you couldn't use in that map, it would dispense, if used, any block that was input while in creative mode. So say you put a grappling hook in the dispenser while you were in creative mode. Once in play mode, if you had a setup with some of the wires, like say a button, as soon as you press that button, it would instantly dispense whatever item you put in. And there could be a cap on how many items you can get. Last thing I want to say is thank you guys so much for watching this video. I appreciate all the help that you guys have been giving my channel, and we finally hit 300 subscribers, so that's awesome. Also, if you guys want to know how I built some of the wiring in the escape room, then comment down below what you want to see me do. I will be building more chambers and adding on to the escape room, and maybe inviting some of you guys down to try and escape the escape room. Anyways, guys, that's the end of this video, and always remember, hot chocolate is cold.